We got a couple kegs here to show you.
Yeah, we'll let's go over different kinds of kegs, and then I'll actually pick that up and bring it right over and get a lot better picture.
Okay, so what we have here are these are used soda kegs,
which are called Cornelius kegs,
kegs,
or Corny keg, made by the Cornelius Keg Company originally. They don't, they still make them, but they don't sell them to, you know, Pepsi or Coke or them anymore.
Pepsi or Coke don't use them anymore, I don't think. I don't know if any soda companies do, but you can buy a brand new one, you know.
Or you can buy a used one. Used ones are, if you can get them, used ones are great. Now this is a different kind of a keg than if you go to if you got a normal keg system in your house, or if you go to the bar. Those use a Sankey keg, which is a different,
completely different animal than what the big breweries use. Like I said, these ones come from traditionally were used for soda pop. Home brewers have picked them up and found that they work really good for our home brew. And there's two different kinds. One was generally called a Pepsi keg or a ball lock keg, and that's this type. And the other one is from Coke used, and that's called a pin lock keg. And the difference in them is, other than their dimensions, like you see the ball lock's a little taller than the pin lock's a little bit bigger around. They both hold 5 gallons. And these attachments here are different. They take a different fitting. This one has little pins that you push down and turn it to lock it on. And this one is more like a compressed air fitting or something that maybe you guys got out in your garage where it just snaps on there and snaps off.
Now to get these, if you were to take these off, you're going to actually need a special tool.
It has pressure on it, so I have no idea what's in it. Must be one that had beer in it recently. Most of them are.
But you see this one here. Yeah, you see these on the sides here is where you get a regular wrench will actually open those up.
If you have a pressure relief valve on it, you're going to have to pull that and make sure there's no pressure on it, or you won't be able to open it probably. It'd be kind of hard to open anyway.
Yeah.
Take that.
I had one the other day, yesterday, that I was cleaning out a little bit, and the pressure relief valve didn't work, so I actually had to pull one of the posts off on the side to let the pressure out. Made a mess.
Yeah, so what we have down in there is some dregs from my last beer. When you want to clean it up, typically what I'll do is you can use some PBW, or I use OxyClean. Get the non-scented OxyClean. It's almost the same thing as PBW anyway. It's a lot cheaper. We call this clean in place because essentially all we have to do is fill it up with cleaner and let it sit for a few hours and come back, and it's pretty clean. But you can use a bottle brush or your cardboard brush if you need to, or reach down in there. I can get my whole hand in there so I can do wipe it out with a sponge or something if I need to. And you can take apart these. Come apart. You got to find the right wrench to do it. I happen to have this really ancient wrench I had for years, and so I use it. But you can pull out a pin, and there are different kegs. There are different ones besides Firestone, Cornelius.
Show the different parts of that pin there that you just pulled out.
See, now this side here is our gas inside, and it has a 12-point.
Now, they don't all have 12 points.
They don't all have 12 points, but
if they have a 12 point, it's usually your gas in.
And I think this is like a 7/8. I don't know. Find the right one that fits.
I've got one wrench that I use on everything. It's a little loose on some of them, but I get by.
But they're different sizes. And this wrench just happens to have both sizes on it, but it's not labeled. I think it's like a 7/8 and a 13/16, but I don't remember for sure.
All right. So on here you got an O-ring right here that keeps out. That's where for when the connector locks on, you keep your pressure there. You got a little poppet in the end here.
That comes out of there. If I probably need something to push
we're not going to pull it out, but that comes out.
These wear out. You can replace them, and when you put them back together, a little keg lube on them is good.
You can get those at the beer store or the brew store not a problem. Order them online if you don't have a brew store.
And poppet valves wear out too. You need to replace them every once in a while. You can buy just those there. That one did come out, so that's all it does. It's just a little like spring, and there's also a little tiny
washer on there.
I never replace that. It's replaced the whole thing. You can buy just that part, the poppet.
Yeah.
They make specific Cornelius ones, otherwise I think they make universal ones, and whatever you can find.
why don't you pull that's the gas inside, pull that pin out. Well, pull the pin out.
There's another way.
That's you see how that's short? You want the gas goes on top of the beer and pushes it down.
Also has another little O-ring or gasket on there. That one can be replaced.
Yeah, those I typically, at the very least, you want to pull them off when you're sanitizing. Make sure you get everything good and sanitized.
When you put them back together, a tiny little bit of keg lube is all it takes. You know, you don't have to goop it on there or anything. Just the same thing. It's good. Notice that one's 6 point.
Yeah, and they're a different size.
They are a different size.
It's tough to tell by
they're so
looking
close
at them.
you probably can't even see it, but they are a slightly different size, so you can't put the wrong. You can, but it makes it hard to put the wrong connector on. And then this is our liquid pickup tube.
And that goes all the way down to the bottom of the keg and pulls the beer off the bottom.
It might still go damn near to the bottom. If you look in there, there's only about a shot of beer left from my last, you know, when it kicked.
And you see it's got a little bit of a curve on it.
This one does, but they don't all.
Mine all do. And that's because there's a little bit of a curve on the bottom of the keg. So when it goes down, it goes right along the edge of the keg. I've got one that I have a lot of trouble getting that not to turn as I tighten it. The others are pretty good. So sometimes I got to reach my hand in there and hold it while I'm tightening the keg back together. And that also has the little washer grommet thing on it also. So, and that's it. Pull everything apart, sanitize the snot out of it, put it back together, and you're good to go.
So to clean this keg, I'm going to do it right because we're here. I'm going to rinse it out first. And I'm going to throw some OxyClean in there. And I'm going to drop all the parts just down in there. I'm going to let them soak for a few hours. Yeah. And,
now when I do it, I because you know if I got two different ends like that, I don't have a problem throwing them all in together. But if I've got two that are like this, I actually will put them in different places as I'm cleaning them to make sure that I don't mix them up, because we did mix them up once and it's not a happy time.
I just go and get one of my connectors and say, which is the fit, which side is it?
Yeah, you can do that. It's really tough to get the beer out connector on the air in connector.
If we're cleaning multiple kegs, I bought like 5 kegs used, and I swear one of them came with like two gas in connectors and no out connector on it. Now, and again,
somebody probably got another used keg with 2 gas in.
On some kegs, these are the same size. On some, they're a different size. It depends on who manufactures.
There we go. You can see where that says out. Now, they're not all marked like that, though.
There is an older style ball lock keg. They call them racetrack kegs, and that's because of the shape of this lid. This one's kind of a rounded oval. And the other ones, they're still oval shaped, but they got straighter sides, like a racetrack shape, where the two sides are kind of straight and parallel, as opposed to this one being totally oval. A lot of parts are interchangeable, but obviously if you have one of those, they're not. And so you have to get specific parts, specific O-rings, for those kegs to, like as far as the lid goes and stuff.
Oh yeah, there's that O-ring on top.
This O-ring
about that
goes in here, that comes off. Again,
that's another piece can be replaced.
Yep.
All these parts can be purchased. Even the kegs themselves tend to be a little bit pricier.
I think a used one runs around $60 right now, and a new one's around $100. On a budget.
So you're gonna frugal brewer. Yeah, get all the scrunch out of there. Now, a lot of times, what I'll do is I'll rinse them out.
It looks a heck of a lot cleaner already.
Yeah. So, there we go. You see there's nothing floating around on the bottom. Now, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just rinse them out. Open them up right after I'm done using them, rinse them out good, and then I'll star sand them before I fill them up again. So how much of that OxyClean did you put in there then? Just 1 scoop?
1 scoop that came in with it, which is good for like a 5-gallon batch.
Which is what we're pretty much doing. This is a 5-gallon keg. So. Now when you're kegging your beer, obviously you can actually prime a keg just like you'd prime a bottle, and I do something similar to that myself. But you don't have to. You can actually force carbonate your beer. Basically, you hook it up to your system, put the CO2 on it,
wait, what, like 3 days, 4 days?
There's some carbonation after 3 days. The older it is, the faster it'll carb up. The quicker it'll absorb, and the less pressure it needs.
Yeah, and you can go online. There's all sorts of calculators and stuff. You can compare different styles of beer, different manufacturers of beer, their carbonation levels. Actually, that's how are we doing?